You're listening to PetLifeRadio.com.
It's Oh Behave with Arden Moore, the show that teaches you how to have harmony in the household with your pets. Join Arden as she travels coast to coast to help millions better understand why cats and dogs do what they do. Get the latest scoop on famous faces, their perfectly pampered pets, and who's walking who in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails. Garner great pet tips and have a doggone fur-flying fun time. So get ready for the pause and applause as we unleash your Oh Behave host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Yes, all of you know I'm a big advocate for pets, but I love football, especially pro football. Here's a little secret. When I grew up in Crown Point, Indiana, I aspired to be a pro football quarterback. I could throw a post-pattern pass, I could elude all the linebackers in my neighborhood's pickup games, and I knew how to run a quarterback option. Okay, reality surfaced when I turned 13. I realized there's not really a demand in the NFL for a chick who barely stands 5'2" tall. But fortunately today, we do have a Super Bowl winning quarterback on our show. Our special gridiron guest is a star not only on the field, but he illuminates off the field with all the great work he does in his community. He benefits dogs and kids and a bunch of other folks. He is the 2013 recipient of the Bryon Whizzer White NFL Man of the Year Award for all the good deeds he does. Let's give it up, pause and applause to Pittsburgh Steelers quarterback Charlie Batch. Hey, Charlie, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So can I be your backup quarterback? I really can still throw a mean pass. I know how to do a spiral.
Absolutely. I want you to teach me how to throw that post pattern.
You know, folks, Charlie is a quarterback on a mission. He's here on our show to share how all of us pet lovers can do our part to team up and keep our pets at their healthy best and to tackle cancer in pets and people. You know, Charlie, I'm very, very honored to have you on the show, and I promise you there are no menacing linebackers hiding and waiting to blitz you during the show. Do you feel better now?
I appreciate that. It doesn't feel good whenever you're getting hit by those linebackers.
And before we kick off the show, yes, I do a lot of puns. We do need to stop and take this commercial break. So everybody sit and stay. We'll be right back.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. Oh Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Pet Life Radio has doggone fur-flying fantastic deals for our listeners.
Go to petcodeals.com and get $6 off your order of $60 or more and up to 40% off hundreds of items at Petco.
Petcodeals.com.
But that's not all.
Are you talking to me?
Pet Life Radio listeners, try Audible.com now and get your first 30 days of Audible Listener Gold membership plan free. And get a free audiobook. Choose from over 100,000 titles. To get this great deal, go to audibledeals.com.
That's audibledeals.com.
The new Dyson Animal Vacs are powerful bagless upright vacuums for homes with pets. Air muscle and radio root cyclone technology generates the strongest suction power to powerfully remove dust, dirt, and pet hair from the home or car. Go to DysonDeals.com. DysonDeals.com
to order your Dyson Animal Vac today.
Go to PetSmartDeal.com and save up to 30% on awesome gifts for the pets and pet people in your life. Toys, collars, leashes, PetSmart gift cards, treats, and more. Go to PetSmartDeal.com today. PetSmartDeal.com.
Let's talk pets on PetLifeRadio.com. Oh Behave is back with more tail-wagging ways to achieve harmony in the household with your pets. Now back to your fetching host, America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. Hut, hut, hut! In the game of life, when you are facing 4th and goal, you need a man like our special guest today. to drive you into the end zone. Charlie Batch is a quarterback for the mighty Pittsburgh Steelers, but he is so much more. You got to check out his website. It's charliebatch.com. That's CharlieBatch. He's got a great Facebook page. He is the master of social media. And you are going to quickly see that this is a man on a mission to help pets and kids. And Charlie, I'm very impressed, and I want to get started. So first of all, let's talk about it. You have found, I understand, a wonderful way to pay tribute to your very beloved Rottweiler rescue, the late, great Roxie. If you don't mind sharing with people, because I saw that, oh my God, that picture of you hugging Roxie, it was tough, but what a lucky dog to have you in her life.
Yes, it was really tough. And, I'm really not a big dog person. I started out with my two Bichon Frise 10 years ago. And, I love my dogs. And I was like, you want to know what? And I would always figure out a way to go to the animal shelter. And one day I went down there, and it was just this Rottweiler that was sitting there. And it just kind of came, and I kind of froze a little bit. And she just wanted petted. And I started petting her, and she just fell out in my lap. And I'm sitting there saying to myself, wow, this can't be true. So here's this dog, big dog, very friendly, and all she wanted to do was be hugged, petted. And so I got attached to it right away. And I said, you want to know what? Before I'm able to really start to get too attached to it, I have two little dogs at home, and I need to bring them down here to make sure that they're going to get acquainted with this dog and they're going to get along. And I ended up bringing my dogs down to the animal shelter, which was Animal Friends here in Pittsburgh. And they actually brought them down, and of course my dogs, two dogs, they're just barking away, trying to show who has the biggest bark. And and Roxie just sits there, and she's just sitting there. And at the time, her name was Foster. It wasn't Roxie at the time; it was Foster. And she's sitting there, and she's just kind of looking at them, and like, okay, well, you're done barking, I'll bark. And she just barked, and my two dogs ran under the table, and they're just like, okay, Charlie, now protect me. So, she actually laid down, and my two dogs came over, and they're, kind of looking to make sure this dog isn't going to do anything to her. And my dogs just started licking. They started kissing each other, and I'm like, wow, this might be, this might be it. This may work. And they allowed me, I adopted her right there on the spot. Wow. And then at that point, she ended up, I brought her home because they were actually, somebody left her on the side of the road. She, at 2 years old with a torn ACL. So she was in the Animal Friends shelter and rehabbing. And that's kind of where you had a foster family who was taking care of her, and she was going through her rehab. So I knew she had problems beforehand. But she had so much energy, and when I finally brought her to the house, I mean, it felt like she belonged right away. And I quickly became attached to her. We changed her name from Foster to Roxie.
That's
and then at that point, so we're just sitting back, and of course now, as I'm getting back, and if you got a little close to her neck, she growled, and I was taken away from that. So I backed up, and come to find out, she wasn't growling at me. She was trying to talk to me. So that was her way of talking. So if I
She's
walked
trying
up
to
there
say,
and
Charlie,
in her ear,
I love you, Charlie. I love you.
So I whispered in her ear, I said, how are you today, Roxie? She's like, "Arr." And it was just like, okay. And people, when they saw me doing that, they thought that she was growling. So and I'm like, no, that's her way of communicating with me. And we quickly came, we had more and more conversations, and she just became one of our own. And then, 2 years later, I ended up want to let her out one morning, and she went outside, but then went to eat. And I'm like, what's wrong with her? She's not the same. And she went and kind of sat in a corner, and I looked at her, and then her neck it was swollen. And I'm like, what is wrong with her? So I immediately said, I need to run to the hospital. So we ended up taking her down to the hospital, and of course, they ended up going back, and they're like, we're going to take her through treatment. They ended up coming back out a little later, and they said, she has lymphoma. We need to start treatment immediately in order for have any chance of her surviving this right now, because it was so bad and she couldn't even swallow. And immediately, of course, me and my wife, Latasha, we literally was like, we have to do this. And we ended up taking her through her treatments. And of course, Tasha, she's an animal lover herself. She has 3 pit bulls. So she just loves dogs. So she's like, we have to do this. So I'm like, you want to know what? Fine. And we ended up doing that. And of course, she came right back out after she went through her treatment. And she, was a little down. She didn't have a lot of energy. But at that point, she continued on through her treatments, getting around the other dogs, and now just kind of running around. And she started to get her energy back. And that's kind of where we started to say, you want to know what? Maybe this treatment is working. And we ended up doing that. And people follow me on Facebook.
Right.
And literally they got attached to it, because I was, it started out by me posting a picture, and I'm saying, hey, I'm down here at the hospital, and please pray for me and my dog Roxie. And so many people, wanted to they were attached to that, and they wanted to continue to follow it. And I stopped posting because I was emotionally tied to it. I'm like, I just can't post it, but people wanted to become aware as far as what was happening, because there were other people in the hospital that were going through some of the same things that I was going through, and they just wanted to be kept up as well. And really, it just became a point where Roxie had her fan base. And everybody wanted to know what Roxie was up to and how her treatments were going. And that's just kind of how it went. And sure enough, as she started to go through it, it seemed like she was getting better. And then as this season went along, it just took a turn for the worse. And she's had, I think they tried 3 different chemos on her, and ultimately her body just started rejecting it. And it was just very, very tough to do, because this was the first time that I really had a dog, number one, going through this, and then, getting, when a doctor comes to you and giving you the words and saying, hey, your dog only has 2 months, weeks to months to live. And I was just like, wow. And then one day I ended up coming home from work, and I went, and they said Roxie went under the deck. And at that point, she wouldn't come out. And I'm saying there's absolutely no way that I am letting my dog stay underneath the deck. So I grabbed her out of the deck, and I'm trying to reach her up without, injuring her, let her know I'm here for her, and come to find out her hind legs gave way.
Oh, no.
And she couldn't even climb into the truck. So I literally picked her up. I had a suit on that day. So I had an event, and I had a suit on. So I grabbed her. So, of course, I'm all furry. And I grabbed her in the truck, but it didn't even matter. I put her in the back of the truck, and I took her down to the vet. And at that point, they said this is probably the worst that can happen at this point. And everybody that was there that treated her at the hospital, people who were off, actually came back, because Roxie was so good of a dog. They actually came back to say their goodbyes. And it was just very, very tough emotionally in November. And it was just one of those things that, at that point, it was very, very tough, because I became so attached to Roxie.
What's interesting, Charlie, is sometimes dogs pick us, right? Here you are with your little tiny dogs. And what are their names, the 2 that you have?
They're Snoop and Nate.
Snoop and Nate?
Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg.
And then your wife has, 2 or 3 pitties?
Yeah, she has 3 pit bulls. Now she has 2, because one of them passed away.
Okay.
So she has 2, and she's just so a dog lover as well. And just in the household, we have 6 dogs. So
hey,
so
if you get one more, now. you got a front line. There you go, quarterback.
Know, right? We have 2 Shiba Inus. We have, like I said, Snoop Dogg and Nate Dogg, and with her pit bull, and then we actually adopted another pit bull. Her name is Asia.
Oh, nice. So I love pits. I think they're sweet. We had Rachel Ray on our show some time back, and obviously she's a big champion of pit bulls, and, they used to be called nanny dogs. So it is nice to know, and you're going to get the reference, that there's a quarterback in the NFL that loves pits. How's that? Did I say something right?
Yes, absolutely. We have, 6 of them, and they're just such great dogs. They're all different personalities, and at the end of it, you think they're humans, and it's just unbelievable, what they can do, and, they understand commands, and it's just really something for me to be able to really, share with them, walk them, have them finger command, and, they are really, really special, because all the kids in the neighborhood actually come down and they want to play with our dogs, regardless if it's little Snoop and the Bijans or it's the big dogs, because a lot of them love to play with Roxie when she was there. So it's just amazing to really have some of the kids come down and play with them, because there are so many dogs in our community.
Let me know if this is right. Now, you do play on the Pittsburgh Steelers, and there's a guy named Big Ben everybody knows about, but he gets injured a lot. And you were playing against, here comes my sports writer out in me. I covered 2 Super Bowls years ago as a newspaper reporter. Here you are, told that you're going to start against the Baltimore Ravens in early December on their home field, where they have not lost for 15 times. And tell us, I believe the score was 23-20 Pittsburgh, right?
Yes.
Oh, my gosh. And that was just a few days after Roxie passed. How much did Roxie play in your head when you were in that game, or did you think about her after you won? Because that was a major win, and I salute you for that. But, you had a lot of pressure, and you came through.
Thank you. It was more or less I didn't get much sleep, because I'm going through it and trying to comfort her because she's crying, and, leading up into that week, you're losing sleep because you're making sure that she has enough water. I don't know how much longer I'm going to have her around, so you better believe I'm going to cater to her. I don't let my dog sleep in the bed, but she was able to sleep in the bed.
Oh, Roxie.
So she was laying in the bed, and, it's one of those things, because her neck was swollen, that she couldn't breathe. So it was like a snore, she's kind of talking. It was one of those things. So, it was tough. So I didn't get a lot of sleep leading up into that game. And, we finally got to into Baltimore the night before the game. I really had a chance to really just crash. And it was just like, okay, of course I'm still thinking about it because I miss her. Right. And in that game, you're going through the emotions of a game. And then at the end of it, the way it went down, to go down final 6 minutes and 51 seconds of that game, and to kick a field goal to win the game with no time on the clock, it was special because, the team is celebrating. I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, Roxie's down here and she's looking, and I know she's smiling. And, I'm sitting there and people, the media caught a picture of me and Ben hugging. It was emotional for me because, number one, I didn't know if that may be the last game that I ever started my National Football League career. And then number two, I'm sitting there saying to myself, wow, it's been a tough week. And, nobody at the end of the day, they may not necessarily care about problems. Everybody has problems at the end of the day. But for me, I knew it was special because everything leading up into the week and then basically having a death in your family, it was just very, very tough emotionally to go through it. And, a week later, there was an article that was written in the paper here locally in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette about the story. And a lot of people didn't know the story that related as it relates to my Rottweiler, Roxie, and, everything that led up into it. So people really, at that point, became more and more attached to that. And I think now at that point, people knew, they appreciated the fact as far as how much I do love dogs.
That's a fact. Folks, we're talking with Charlie Batch. He is a quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's been in the NFL, I believe, since 1998, if I'm right. Am I right, Charlie?
Yes, you are.
All right! Score one for the 5'2" wannabe quarterback from Crown Point, Indiana. Okay, hey, we're going to talk a little bit more with Charlie because he's got some really, really great events he has. He's got a new organization. It's called the Weedle and Cody Fund. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about what he does to help kids in his community read and much more, but we got to pay for the show. So everybody sit and stay. We'll be right back after we take this quick commercial break.
Time for a walk on the red carpet, of course. All Behave will be back in a flash right after these messages.
Hi, this is Tim Link, animal communicator and pet expert and host of Animal Rights on Pet Life Radio. Have you ever wanted to know what your pet is really thinking? Do you want to find out if they truly understand what you're trying to tell them? Ever wish you could build a better understanding and closer relationship with your pet? Well, now you can. Learning to Communicate with Animals is a 4-part on-demand workshop. In the workshop, you'll learn the essential techniques that are necessary to communicate with animals, including what is animal communication, breathing correctly to achieve the perfect state to communicate with your animals at a deeper level, using guided meditation exercises and method to communicate with animals, and how to send and receive information from your animals. So if you're wanting to learn how to communicate and connect with your animals at a deeper level, visit PetLifeRadio.com/workshop and purchase and download Learning to Communicate with Animals. You'll be glad you did.
I Love My Pets, the new single by Mark Winter, available in iTunes.
When you're looking to add a pet into your life, consider adopting a homeless animal from your local shelter or rescue group. Whether you want a kitten, puppy, or a more mature pet, a purebred or a one-of-a-kind mixed breed, even a rabbit or hamster, your shelter has the best selection of animals anywhere, all screened for good health and behavior. PetLifeRadio.com presents Take Me Home with your host, Susan Daffron. Join us each week as we showcase wonderful pets, tell stories, and even throw some pet education into the mix. So get ready to find out why the pet adoption option can be a great way to add a furry companion into your life. Take Me Home every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.
Let's talk pets.
Let's talk pets
On Pet Life Radio.
Pet Life Radio.
PetLifeRadio.com.
Holy hound dog! Hi, this is Bert Ward, and you're listening to the O Behave Show with Arden Moore on Pet Life Radio. Listen every week, same pet time, same pet channel.
We're back from the lot. Just checked the paper and we had a record showing at the box. The letterbox, that is. Now back to Oh Behave. Here's Arden.
Welcome back to the Oh Behave Show on Pet Life Radio. I'm your host, Arden Moore. We have a quarterback in the house, not just any quarterback, but a Super Bowl winning quarterback. He plays for the Pittsburgh Steelers. He is Charlie Batch. And Charlie, we had Betty White on our show. She's 91 years old. Let's see. Now, in the terms of your age, I'm not trying to dish you, man. You're 38 years old. Is it true you were the oldest active member currently in the NFL?
I'm the oldest non-kicker.
The oldest non-kicker. Oh, yeah, those kickers can last forever. Okay.
Yes. The
they
oldest
never
non-kicker. Exactly. The oldest non-kicker and then the oldest player to put a uniform on for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
So you get to be called old man a lot in a kind way, right?
I do, because, I mean, and I take that with a badge of honor because, you know, I tell all of our young guys, hopefully one day you can be talked about, you know, in a good way, because that means you have lasted as long as I have in the National Football League. And it's just really great because, you know, to turn around and do something that I love, that I've been doing since the age of 7, you know, it is just truly a blessing to be able to continue to do this, not only for the Pittsburgh Steelers, but to do it in my hometown, born and raised in Pittsburgh. There's not many people that have been born and raised in Pittsburgh, and I am the only person that be born and raised in Pittsburgh and to play for the Pittsburgh Steelers and to have 2 Super Bowl rings. So that is special by itself.
Well, I saw on your Facebook page you let a person from the Bahamas get to put the rings on his fingers. Tell us about that, because you and your family are on a recent vacation.
Yes,
I saw you, man. I've been checking you out.
I like it. Actually, we were down in the Bahamas, and I have a friend of mine who is from the Bahamas, and we had our union meetings down there just last week, and they literally they knew we were down there, and at that point he said, hey, I want to make sure that I introduce you to the Prime Minister. And I said, oh, okay. You know, so they say, we want to get you on a conference call. That's what it says. They just want to set up a conference call. And I'm like, okay, fine. Tell me what time that, you know, he wants to speak. And they're like, no, a conference call is you meeting with the Prime Minister.
Ah.
And I'm like, wow. So you had the Prime Minister, Perry Christie. Now all of a sudden we're going to his office and we have a chance to sit across from him, and he's welcoming us to his country. And he says, hey, let us know what you need, how we, you know, whatever we can do to make your stay great. And I said, okay, that's fine. He's like, and you remember the Pittsburgh Steelers. I love that. And I said, oh, by the way, you know, maybe there may not be too many times that you're able to have a Super Bowl ring on. Here's one of them. And he lit up. And he's like, oh, wow. And I showed him the second one, and he was just all smiles. And, you know, at that point, he's putting on the rings. And I said, hey, would you mind that I could kind of come across to take a picture with you? He said, absolutely. And I took the picture, and that's where I posted it on my Facebook page. So that was truly an honor to really be able to be receptive to his country and to really be greeted by the Prime Minister. That was truly one of my highlights.
Well, I think you were one of his highlights, too. I mean, it's nice to be a prime minister, but come on, not 1, but 2 Super Bowl rings. You know, guys, you know, like Dan Marino can't say that.
Yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right. And, you know, to be able to be welcomed, and that's what I appreciated, to be welcomed into his country, because, you know, for him to take the time out to greet me, I mean, I really did. I really did appreciate that.
Well, in your home turf in the Pittsburgh area, I know you do a lot for pets and for kids, and you did a Panera pup walk at the waterfront and raised some money. I guess it was you and your whole pup posse walking as you were the Grand Marshal. Is that right?
Yes, Grand Marshal for the last 2 years with the Panera Pup Walk, and it raises money for the Western Pennsylvania Humane Society. And, you know, I co-marshaled or Grand Marshaled the event, and actually it was fun because you had a lot of people down there that brought their pets around. Roxie had a chance to really be part of it last year, and it was special because here you are, a mile and a half, walking dogs, and the enrollment was up each of the last 2 years, and that's special because we're raising money for such a great cause. And, you know, to be part of it and to be in my community, it really is humbling.
And so tell me a little bit, what is the Weedle and Cody Fund? And it's a kind of an unusual spelling. It's Wiedel and Cody Fund. So tell me what that's all about.
Actually, the Weedle and Cody Fund, it's a nonprofit organization that provides funding and support for people who have pets that have been diagnosed with cancer and can't afford the treatment.
Oh,
and, you know, so it's part of, you know, and they have 12 million dogs that are really diagnosed with cancer each year, and that's where they have a 12 million dog walk, or, you know, dog and cat walk. And it's just really something to be able to really now be part of, because I can share my experience, and it's personal. And for me, the way I got involved was they were following the game, and they followed the story, and it was just like, wow, you know, here we are. And they ended up calling our foundation office to see if I would be interested in this. And I said, absolutely, because I want to raise the awareness, because there are so many people that were in the position that I am. Maybe currently, maybe they went through that but couldn't afford the treatments. And I know it can be expensive because I just had to go through that so I could speak on it. And to really have a fund out there that really helps people going through the grieving process of, number one, knowing that your pet has cancer, that's a traumatic experience by itself, and then the turnaround now not really being able to understand whether or not you can afford treatments that go along with it. So I'm really here to really help raise the awareness to say, hey, you want to know what? There is help out here that will go out here and help you go through this, and you're not by yourself, because there is a group of people that support you along the way.
Well, I think they are very lucky to have you on their team. And I want people to, at the end of the show, to please dash over. I'm giving you the website. It's wheedlecody.org, and it's spelled RIEDELCODY.org. You check it out, and you're going to see what Charlie Batch is talking about. And Charlie, you love kids, too. I mean, Project Chuck, Patch Packs, Best of the Patch Club. Boy, it's good you have a last name of Batch. Batch of Toys, Read Across America. On it. I mean, I saw your T-shirts with you wearing different Dr. Seuss T-shirts.
Yes.
You're quite the fashion model.
Yes, I mean, we just got done doing the Dr. Seuss readathon, and we always go out there, and I try to at least go to minimum of 5 schools to 10 schools, including my elementary, Barrett Elementary in Homestead, PA. And it's a way for me to, number one, read my favorite author and my favorite book. And I love reading all the places you'll go. And it's by Dr. Seuss, and it just gives a reminder for kids, hey, what you see is the end result, as meaning me as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but understand there is a process that goes along with it. Number one, you need the education. You need to graduate. We want to graduate from high school and college, because in order for you to even have an opportunity to play in a National Football League, you need at least 8 years of schooling if you include high school and college. So for me, it's just understanding, hey, it starts here with education. And our foundation, we're an educational foundation, which uses sports to draw the kids in. And then at that point, we're able to implement any educational aspect that we choose. And then all the programs in our organization are free. And when you talk about Project Chuck, which is the basketball league, they need a 2.2 in order to play. And and I check every report card that comes through. And
Good
I want to make sure that they're holding up their end of the bargain, because I want to make sure that they stress the importance of education. So we use that sports in, and not only are we there for 7 weeks, 4 days out of the summer, they need to read a book. And they have to read a book, and they have to attend 4 mandatory study sessions. It's a lot easier for me to do it this way, as opposed to saying, hey, meet me in the library in the summer and we're going to read a book. You know, I would be lucky to get 25 kids, but doing it this way allows me to have now over 365 kids that participates in our basketball league, in our program. And that is the largest program that we have with the foundation. And we've been doing it now 12 years. So in order to, so it's really great to be able to do that. But as we stress the educational, that was just one program, but we stress the educational component, because we do have our reading and computer literacy programs that take place in the foundation. And we have a computer lab. We have a big fundraiser event. It's called In the Pocket with Charlie Batch. It allows the fans an opportunity to play against the members of the Steelers and the local celebrities that are here as we raise money for our reading computer literacy programs. And it's just a way for us to really now help fund our computer lab, which is in our foundation office, and we have 26 computer labs. And in the last 5 years, we've had alternative school programs taught in our building daily, which is between middle school and high school. And it's a last step for them to really now, because they've been kicked out of school, but it's a way for them to really show that, hey, you want to know what, they're serious about transitioning back into main school. And we're just hoping to be that buffer between them going back to school or getting kicked out of school. Yeah.
Charlie, you had to have some great teachers in your life that got you motivated. Is there anyone you want to shout out when you were growing up in either elementary, middle, or high school that really got you on this path?
I did. I mean, one of my favorite people of all time her name was Dr. Hyde. And she was actually the principal at my elementary school, Barrett Elementary School, and she stressed the importance of education. She stayed on me. She stayed, made sure my mother was involved. So between Mrs. Hyde, between my mother, I mean, she's the one that really stressed it, because not only are you doing it in school, but she made sure that I did that at home. And she knew that, my talent, I was a little bit talented than other people, and she knew that sports ultimately will allow me to excel, but she never made me forget that it was about the education first. And in order for me to go out and play, I had to take care of what I needed to take care of at home, which was homework. So I thank my mother for that. Her name is Len Settles, and, she's been great to really go back out there and really just stress it. And that's why it allows me to really turn, number one, go out there and create the foundation, and which is named the Best of the Batch Foundation, and our website is batchfoundation.org. But one of the things that people don't necessarily know, the reason why I started my foundation, was because back in 1996, my sister was shot and killed. And she was shot and killed between rival gangs. There was crossfire between rival gangs, and she was shot and killed in the side of the head instantly. She was 17 years old. And at that point, I said, if I ever was in position to give back, I would. And that allowed me to really go back out and start the foundation. And when I heard the story, you hear that she's caught in a crossfire between rival gangs, but the guy that she was with actually used her as a body shield.
Oh, my God.
And Danielle was 17 years old when she was shot and killed in the side of the head, and it was something for me that I wanted to change. I wanted to change society. I wanted to change the environment, and if I was ever in position to give back, I would. And in 1998, I got drafted. In 99, I started my foundation, and then it allowed me to really redirect. My foundation goes back to Pittsburgh, and I've been here now the last 11 years as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers, but it allowed me to really now focus on what we wanted to do. And kids in our program now over the last 12 years have been able to say, you want to know what? We have somebody to depend on with the organization, and it has allowed us to grow because we have so many great volunteers who are within our organization that has helped us along the way. And, I'm the face of it, but we have so many people behind the scenes that make things happen as we can continue to create opportunities for these kids. And you see the smiles on these kids' faces. That's what it's all about.
Well, I think the timing of you being the NFL Man of the Year, winning the Bryon Whizzer White Award, it's my understanding that there comes a big check with that. And what did you use your $100,000 donation to go for?
Yes, it was truly a blessing because I had no idea that, not only I would even be considered that. And to really, it actually is the NFLPA, our union, Man of the Year award. And, when they said that you were winning that and they presented the check of $100,000, I just teared up because I'm just like, wow, what great way to create other opportunities, for these kids. And one thing that we want to do is we're trying to create a state-of-the-art educational facility by our foundation office, because one thing we don't have in our community is the Boys and Girls Club. We don't have YMCA, so they're lacking in that area. So we're the closest thing to Boys and Girls Club that you may have. So you have so many kids around the community that just stop up in our building. So what better way for us to really try to kickstart our educational facility, state-of-the-art, and have these kids now continue to focus because they don't have the computers at home. Some of them don't have internet if they do have computers. So, we're just trying to make sure that we stress the importance of that. And, we ran it past our board, which ultimately they make the decisions as far as how we're going to spend our money. But as we present to say this is what we want to do, they're all on board. So I really just think, this is a great start to be able to have in our community.
And this is the highest honor you could get from your peers, your players. So even the linebackers voted for you, Charlie. Even linebackers voted for you.
Absolutely. When you have 1,900 players and you are chosen between the 1,900 players, you're just like, wow, it's truly a humbling experience. And really, I just thank God every day for allowing me the opportunity to continue to serve my community.
Now, before we bid adieu, I want to ask you, because we don't get gridiron greats on our show, really. You're the first one. Tell us what it's like to be on a field and you're facing the clock and it's ticking down and you're playing the Baltimore Ravens and they're just thinking they're going to just chomp on the steel curtain. Tell us, is there any insights when you're on the field or something fun to share about what it's like to be a quarterback in the NFL? That you can say it's a family show now, Charlie. Family show, Charlie.
I understand. I mean, it's one of those things. This is a game that I've been playing for a very long time. I started playing when I was 7 years old. So to really still go out there and do something that really nobody thought that we can do, and you go back out there beginning of December, they won 15 straight road games. You're not playing with your starting quarterback. You're playing with your backup. Nobody gave us a shot. And to turn around in the last game, or in the last quarter with 6 minutes and 51 seconds left, the game tied at 20, us sitting on our minus 15-yard line, and you tell me we need to go 61 yards to kick a field goal to win the game. Nobody would give us a chance. And all of a sudden, you're going back, completing a pass to the right, a pass to the left, and you're moving the football down the field, first down, and you finally get in the field goal range, and there's nothing that they can do that stops us. And what other way can you get 70,000 people to be silent? to be silent. And you kick that field goal, and you look up, and all I remember, there was 2 Steeler fans in the end zone, in between the uprights part where I was able to see you. And that ball looked up, and they're standing up in the room, whenever in the stadium full of purple and white with their hands up with Steeler gear on. It was a proud moment to watch that, because that field goal goes in and the hush 70,000 people on the road. There's no better feeling than that.
Oh, that's so great. And Charlie, I am so excited that you have been a guest on our show. I just want to make sure we can get people directed to the right place. We want them to go to the batchfoundation.org. You've got charliebatch.com. That's your main website. And you got the WheedleCody.org that you're working on.
Yeah.
And Charlie, before we say goodbye, I do want to ask you this. You described perfectly the 23-20 win over Baltimore in December, as a starting quarterback with the Pittsburgh Steelers. You beat a team everybody thought you couldn't. What is something you would like to share with our listeners, a lesson in life perhaps that Roxie, the late, great Rottweiler, shared with you? What's something that you've learned from dogs in your life that you'd like to share at this time?
Well, I think for me, when watching her go through it, I think the perseverance and strength that she had, the one to go through it, and not only going through it herself, but, showing that love on the other side of her, wanting to give the love and not expecting anything in return. And to go home every single day with a smile and a kiss and a hug from her, I mean, it really was, always warming to go home to, because you knew you had her to look forward to, at least going to make you smile.
Well, she's an angel checking you out every day now. You know that.
Absolutely. I know she is. And I know she's looking down, smiling at me.
All right. We have been honored to have Charlie Batch on our show. Please go over to charliebatch.com and also batchfoundation.org. Learn more about him, his mission, and how you can help. And I also want to thank Mark Winter. He is my producer. He makes this show happen each and every week. You are on the Pet Life Radio Network. This is the #1 pet network on the planet. And I want to also say, check out dogpartyday.com. We will have National Dog Party Day on June 21st in Orlando, Austin, Texas, San Diego, and small but mighty Dewey Beach, Delaware. We're going to benefit 4 great pet charities, and we may even get Charlie on board to do it in Pittsburgh for 2014. Right, Charlie?
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it, and I will.
All right. So until next time, this is your flea-free host, Arden Moore, delivering just 2 words to all you 2, 3, and 4-leggers out there. Oh, behave.
Coast to coast and around the world, it's Oh Behave with Arden Moore. Find out why cats and dogs do the things they do, and get the latest buzz from wagging tongues and tails in Rin Tin Tinseltown. From famous pet experts and best-selling authors to television and movie stars, you'll get great tail-wagging pet tips and have a fur-flying fun time. Oh Behave with America's pet edutainer, Arden Moore. Every week on demand, only on PetLifeRadio.com.